Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Indie Talk Sports. I want to thank you guys for your endless support and to send a special reminder to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Now to the main attraction, we have Imani Christian Academy and CCAC alum Demetrius Epps. Demetrius, thank you for coming on the show today. And I just want to know, what's the energy like? How are we feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
That's always what it's about. So Demetrius graduated high school in 2021 from Imani Christian Academy, primarily praised for their athletic program. He went to Kent State University after graduating for 1 year, then transferred to CCAC for two basketball seasons and one cross country season. So we have a athletic prodigy over here. Where did this love of sports just stem from?
It mainly came from when I was younger. Uh,
Hmm.
my grandma, she was always a big sports fan. So, like when I was younger, she would always try to get me involved in little stuff. I really started playing off in flag football. I feel like that's where it all started. And then she started getting me in with basketball. I played a little bit of soccer, a little bit of baseball, and it just all came together.
That's so dope. You mentioned to me that you played football and basketball at Imani. So for your college career, like what made you just stick primarily with basketball?
I played football mainly because my football coaches praised that like it would help me with basketball season. So I just played and I ended up liking it a lot. I was really mainly a football player back then, but I feel like after I graduated high school, it kind of just flipped a little bit.
What was like one of your highest moments like with your basketball season in high school and in college?
In high school, I would say playing in states. I remember we played at Clarion University one time. It's a real nice school, real big school. Playing in front of big crowds. Like I just love energy. Like I love being around people. And in college, it's kind of the same way. We went to the regional tournament, big crowd. We went down to Maryland. We played at Prince George Community College. Yeah, I just love big crowds. Just love being around people. Love energy. Love trash talk. Like it just all comes together. It fires me up.
I love that. I think some athletes would think like bigger crowds are intimidating, but I love how you use that to like fuel you up. What would you say is your role like in basketball? Are you more of like the leader type, or are you like just like the listener, the observer? Are you the trash talker? Like what would describe you?
I feel like in high school, I was like a mix of both, but when I got to college, I leaned towards more of a leader. I feel like, especially last season at CCAC, they really pushed on me to be a leader just because I played there for 1 year already. Like I seen the ups, the downs, and we had a lot of new guys last year. So in high school, I was like more of like the quiet kid. I was like a quiet leader, but I feel like in college, I it helped me be more vocal, be more confident, and really be like an outspoken leader instead of a quiet one.
That's dope. That's dope. And I know Imani has a great athletic program, basketball program, but I do know that, athletes get a little bit of a shock when they move to college because it's different. Like it's intense. Did you have a moment where you were like, uh
Yeah, I did, especially when I graduated and I went straight to Kent in my first year. It was just kind of like it was a wow moment, literally. It was like all those because Imani's a real small school, and then going there to that university, it was just like thousands of students. I was in lecture classes with probably like 100 students, and my graduating class from high school was 11. So it was like a big difference. It was like a lot to take in
I
at once.
can't imagine. That's like super intimidating, super
Mhm.
like a lot. How did you like push through that to overcome that like jitterbug?
My mom, I started getting really homesick, so I used to like blow my mom up every day. Like I can't wait to come home. But she did help me through a lot. She helped me get through that tough year that I had, and she recommended me to go to CCAC. She was like, small school, you still be home. She was like, I feel like that's the better fit for you because always uh, she always liked me in like smaller environments. She feel like you'd be involved more you'll be more recognized more,
For sure,
stuff like that.
absolutely. Yeah, I went to Point Park and that's where they play basketball CCAC. So I know some of the athletes will like kind of like check out the Point Park game. So yeah, super
Mhm.
like you guys are amazing. So but I know through our conversation prior to you mentioned how you only have 2 more years of college basketball eligibility, having athletic friends. I understand bits and pieces of like the transfer portal of, not having as much time to play whatever sport that you play when your time's pretty much up. The mental pressure, the worry, the overworking to figure everything out, the struggle. So, how have you handled transferring schools as well as just knowing that you have 2 more years left of eligibility?
It's honestly a long, long process, especially like when it's like a two-way thing. It's like you can reach out to somebody, but they don't reach out back to you. So it's just like a long process. And like you said, you have to like mentally be there too, because like you get frustrated, you could get stressed out, and just a lot of people give up and don't go anywhere. But yeah, I would say it's more like a mental game, but you also got to be patient too. That's another reason why I took a gap semester before I ended up transferring, because it was just like I'm still young. I don't have to rush anything. It was just like if the right opportunity presents itself, I'll take it after whenever the time's right. But it's honestly more of a mental game than anything.
I love how you mentioned that because I think like athletes could get very overwhelmed, rightfully so, when they're going through that process of just trying to figure out what they're going to do next. Like I said, I understand just bits of it by seeing like my friends go through it. But I love how your mindset was just like, what's for me will be for me. Like I'm young and I have time. So I think like honestly, I think more athletes need to hear that instead of trying to burn themselves out or sell themselves short, or even in their dreams before it even happened. So what's like a big time goal for you right now while you're in the process of kind of just like waiting and taking that break?
My whole goal overall is I do want to get my bachelor's. I have my associates now, but it's more than just sports at the end of the day. Like I'm using sports to get free education. So I completed my associates and now my main goal in the end is to get my bachelor's.
That's super dope. That's super, super dope. I love that. So, guys, one of my favorite podcasts is The Pivot. So we have the powerhouse between Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor, like truly focusing on athletes off the court, off the field, off the ice, whatever it may be. So do you feel like there's been a rise of awareness when it comes to mental health, not only in athletes, but like men as well?
Yeah, I do. I feel like that's a big thing nowadays. I feel like a lot of a lot of men's mental health uh is not like taken care of in the proper way. Um, because I do have bad mental health days every now and then. I feel like everybody does, but I feel like men, especially with sports, like it's more serious because a lot of men like without their sport, they don't know what to do or they don't know who they are at the end of the day. So it's just like in reality, we can't play a sport forever. Like physically, you just can't. So I feel like once you start to understand yourself and get a better mental, I feel like once the ball stops bouncing, then you'll be fine as long as your mental is right and you know exactly who you are and where you want to be whenever it's all over.
Absolutely. I know this one journalist on TV one day, she made a comment about like an NBA game going on, and her comment was just shut up and play ball. And I know there was a lot of backlash about it because once again, they are more than just athletes. They are more than just somebody, you guys are more than just somebody dribbling a ball. You guys are human. And even how you said there's more to your life than just playing your sport because you can't play forever. Like, I know one of the interviews that I did, he was just telling me, like, he played in the NFL for a short time, but then he wanted to know what his bosses were doing and what their bosses were doing and what the
Right.
CEO was doing, and especially how you said you want to get your bachelor's degree and finish school and things like that. So, I definitely think that's such a good thing to look at and such a great perspective to have. And yeah, as well as like the rise of just like the awareness, I feel like, of athletes' mental health as well as men's mental health. So Tell me a little bit about your own story when it came to just being an athlete and having to get through those like dark times or like those like hazy mental days.
I would say like I had really bad mental health when I went to Kent State because I because obviously that's a D1 school and I came from a small private school in Pittsburgh, so I didn't play basketball when I went to Kent State. Like I would play at the rec every now and then, but it was just like that season that I wasn't in season, it kind of messed with my mental health a lot. So I don't know. It was just like since I wasn't in season and I've been in season my whole life, like playing football, playing basketball, running cross country, and then it was like I took off here, and that really affected me a little bit in a couple ways. Like affected me, it affected my grades a little bit because I got discouraged. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, and then I was an hour and 45, 2 hours away from home, so it was just like I'm out here by myself, and I didn't know what to do. So yeah, I would say big shout out to my mom because she did help me out with a lot of that. But yeah, I would feel like that was my biggest mental moment where I kind of had like a reality check and had to like sit down, actually like look myself in the mirror and figure out like what do you want to do? So,
Yeah, I love that. I think what's so crazy about you saying that, a lot of people don't understand that college is really like a whoa moment, you know? And eventually it comes, but you'll see like, oh, like have fun, go party and things like that. But I know like even with my own college experience, which at first it was that, I also went through, like you said, a lot of like isolation. I went through a lot of like dark times because it's not even just something new, but maybe you're away from home, you're figuring yourself out, you're around new people, and it's just like a new you. It's a lot of new, which can be very, very uncomfortable. But during those hard times, I like Kent State, and then even with transferring, like besides your mom, like what inspired you to keep going? Who inspired you to keep going? And also, how did your mom play a big part, in being your reason to just keep going?
I made a lot of good friends at Kent State, and I kind of like told them my story. I didn't really socialize a lot. I was kind of like to myself majority of the time. But like the small group of friends that I had, like I told them almost everything that I was going through. So they just kind of like inspired me and pushed me. Like some days I'll wake up and not feel like going to class, not feel like going to gym, just like laying around all day. They literally come to my door and just like, yo, come on, like we gotta go work out, we gotta go lift weights, you gotta go do this, go to study hall. So I really appreciate them for that because I feel like everybody has those lazy days where they just don't feel like doing anything. So I feel like everybody in life needs those kind of friends. Like, come on, you gotta go to work, you gotta do this. So, and my mom played a big part because she went to Kent State and she graduated from there. She did all 4 years. She went there for free. And so she was an alum, and I have an oldest brother. He went there too, and he graduated from there. So I feel like their support with everything and them pushing through, it was kind of just like I'm I'm what, a third generation that was going there. So it was just like I can't give up on them, and then I can't give up on myself either. So it was just like I seen them finish, and it was just like why can't I? So I just kept going.
For sure. Oh, that's so inspiring. And it's so great to have community. I think like people need to understand the importance of that. There are going to be times where you do have to uplift yourself and, do what you need to do and handle your business, but to have that community of people to, whether it's one person, two people to really like hold you up, it's really important. So that's why they say, choose wisely with your friends and your company that you keep. But I think even going back to how you talked about, not feeling like going to class today, newsflash for once you graduate high school and just becoming an adult, everything will be up to you now. And I think
Exactly.
that's the hardest thing, right? So you used to get annoyed maybe in the morning, mom wake you up for school and you're like, I don't want to do this, but you had somebody like telling you, so you did it. But as you get older, everything is literally about your choice and what you choose to do.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
being a Pittsburgh native, tell me how growing up in Pittsburgh has been a part of your story.
Growing up in Pittsburgh, it's always been a big part of my story because I just love being at home. I know a lot of people down here. Like almost everywhere I go, I feel like I know somebody or I just feel like I belong. Um, I was involved a lot when I was younger, like I said. I went to Penn Hills before I went to Imani. So I kind of like knew too. I knew being in a public school, and I knew people from being in a private school. And I just love the city. I love being here. I feel like the city's beautiful.
It's like,
So
where do you see yourself going? Where do you see yourself majoring for your bachelor's? Like, where do you see like Demetrius really doing?
I do want to finish my business major because my associates is in business. So I feel like I want to get my bachelor's in business because I actually do want to start my own business one day. I haven't really thought too much about it right now, but it's always something I wanted to do when I was a kid. Like, oh, I want to start a business. Like, I want to be my own boss. I want to run this, run that. I just want to do. I want to do a lot of things. Like not just run a business. Like I like driving. I like music. I like reading, writing. I want to do a lot of stuff whenever the ball eventually stops bouncing.
I love that, a jack of all trades, and I love how you're like super excited about your future, as you should be, because that's
Mhm.
always the goal. So I know you mentioned to me how you're a big spiritual person and how even through your hardest times, like, God has just been your number one. So just tell me a little bit about that and when you really started leaning on your spirituality.
I feel like cause since I went to a private school and they were a Christian school, I was always like I went to church every Sunday when I was a kid, and then going to a Christian school that kind of like I wouldn't say it forced me to be more like religious, but it was just like putting a cherry on top because like we used to have chapel every day at school. It was just like the same as going to church. So like I pray every day, I talk to God every day, and like he was always there for me, even through the good times, through the bad times, times where I was upset, times where I feel like when people usually ask yourself like, "Why is this happening to me?" He was always there for me. Like sometimes I would ask him to like send me signs if this is the right thing I should do, and he would always come through like in little ways. And like I always appreciate the little things, and he's never left my side. So I feel like that's a big thing in a lot of athletes too. Like you can focus on a sport in life or whatever, but at the end of the day, you gotta talk to God. Like you can't just forget about God at the end of the day because that's the reason why we're all here. That's our purpose. Like I want to be. I'm an athlete in Christ, so I feel like every athlete should be that way as well, and just can't just don't forget about them at the end of the day.
Absolutely. What was like a moment through your athletic career where, and I think even now you could probably testify to it, but where you really had to like, really put your faith all in and like really trust regardless of what the outcome would be or even what you were faced with at the moment.
I would say my first year at CCAC, like after the season, because my first year I went there, I didn't play until the second semester, so I had to sit out the first semester because of my transcript from Kent. So I had to pass my first semester at CCAC to play the second semester, and we didn't have a great season, but after the season, I was just like, I sat down and I talked to him, and I was like, I have one more year here, and I really like I want to win something for the school. The school hasn't won in a while, and I just put all my faith in God. I put all my eggs in one basket because I knew we were losing a lot of guys because we had a team of like 10 people from Pittsburgh, 11 people from Pittsburgh. The next year, we had like three returners. So I was just like, I'm still here. I know what I have to do, and I put all my eggs in one basket. It's like I'll do all the work. Like I'll go to class. I'll work out. I'll do my part. So I just sat down and talked to him, and I put my faith in him. And then the next year, we ended up winning the championship. So we went all the way to regionals, and I was like, it actually paid off.
That's dope. And that's definitely the true definition of faith. Like just not going by off of what you see, but just what you know the outcome would be or what you pray the outcome would be and being steadfast and anchored in the midst of all that. So
Right.
that's awesome. I love how you say you're a Christ athlete and just, yeah, I love that.
Thank
So what advice would you give to someone who might be on the verge of giving up on their dreams, whether they're an athlete or not?
you. I would say if you're thinking about giving up, like just don't. Like at the end of the day, it's honestly not worth it at all. Because like I know a lot of people start playing when they were kids or somebody influenced them to play, like a parent or a guardian, or even friends even. So I feel like if you give up, then it's just like what's next? Because I was about to give up at one point too. Like there was a point in time where I was done with basketball. I was like I don't want to play no more. Like I'm over it. I'm done with everything. I wasn't gonna play any sport, not football, not basketball, and I was done. And at the end of the day, nobody cared. It was just like, okay, so what's next? Like what's next for Demetrius? So it's just like if you give up, then it's kind of like I wouldn't say like you failed yourself, but it's kind of like it's a disappointing feeling, especially when you think you have like support behind you and you don't. Then it's really just like this is like I have to get back to what I'm used to what I'm known for, to what I'm used to doing. So if you think about giving up, like it's not worth it. Like just keep going and like just stack days every day, just one day at a time, one day at a time.
That's crazy. I love how you said if you give up, what's next? I never thought about it like that. Like,
Yeah.
so like what you gonna do now? Go back to what you're familiar with. So for sure, I love that. And then what advice would you give to an athlete who really wants to grow more in their faith or even learn about God, but maybe they're just worried about fitting in, maybe they're new to college and maybe they're you know, whoever they're around, they don't believe in that. Like, what advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them is that like don't worry about what other people think about you. At the end of the day, it's about yourself. Like, because truth be told, sometimes you got to be selfish. Sometimes you can't be with this group of friends for a period of time because you got to focus on yourself. Sometimes you can't go to a party with people that you hang around all the time if like if your self isn't right. So like even if you got to go to church or because it's not hard to talk to God. Like it can take 30 seconds out your day. It could take 30 minutes out your day. It could take hours out of your day. Like you could talk to God when you wake up, when you go to sleep. So I feel like just don't worry about what people say. I was like that a lot when I was younger. I always worried about other people's opinions. It was like when I got older, it was just like, why should I care what other people say about me when I know me? So it's just like, yeah, just don't worry about what other people say, because at the end of the day, they probably never been in your shoes, and they like there'll never be another you. So just be yourself.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Your mindset is so, so awesome.
Thank you.
So, as we wrap up, once again, just thank you for coming on the show. I just want to know, like, when it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want people to remember or think of whenever they see you?
I want to be remembered as change. Like, oh, he came to this place and he made a change. Like he didn't change himself or he wasn't selfish and just worried about himself. Like he came here and he changed other people's lives. He came here and changed the way we look at this place now. I feel like I did that a little bit with Imani and CCAC because like yes, okay, I was a multi-sport athlete, but I do little things too. Like I take little videos or photo shoots for the school to try to promote them and make sure they have a like a good figure that they can show off to other schools or promote their school or their brand. Um, I'll get involved with like student government. Like I'll just help everybody out. I'm a lot of people call me selfless. And I feel like I am selfless. Like I love giving back to people, especially places where I love being in. So yeah, I would just feel like I wouldn't be remembered as changed. Like, he came to this place and he changed my life, or he changed her life in some type of way, or something that he did. Shout out to you for having me on here. Big
Thank
shout out to
you.
her. She's out here doing her thing right now. I would just say tune in with her. She's really making a change, even though that she left us.
No.
She has a great platform, so big shout out to her and everything that she's doing.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That
You're
means so
welcome.
much to me. All right, guys, I will make sure that I drop all of his social medias in the comment section. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe.